going on, observers all over the universe? It's your boy Inside 11, man. And right now we're getting into the topic of awareness, light, orbits around our observer, right? Because we have to realize that, a lot of these thoughts and feelings in our mind, a lot of these, awarenesses that are given to us by the world, in fact, the mind itself that we make up as us being spirits and stuff like that, the mind is just something that we accumulate. And that mind that we accumulate becomes an atmosphere that our spirit travels in and dwells in. And these be qualities that your spirit be experiencing and stuff like that, where it's like inside of a dream. But the thing is, we forgot to what's it called? What's the word? To let go of that mind to the point that we became so dense and heavy and we started creating this physical material plane and shit like that. But the point is, for the sake of this video, is that to realize that whatever mind you got right now, however you created that mind and shit like that, that mind is just something that your spirit created, and it's just a cloud of thoughts and feelings and shit like that. And you don't need to necessarily hold on to those thoughts and feelings. You can actually allow your spirit to become free again, so you can create a new mind. So now you can create a more powerful mind, where your mind now is not orchestrated by the shadow government, by the Masons, by the people secretly running the world using religions and entertainment and shit like that are projecting their awareness of what they want you to manifest and shit like that. Now you can, because the mind is basically a Lucifer, right? So when you know how to create your own Lucifer, and here's the thing, the word has a negative connotation in it, but it's not. It just means like it's a light bearer. The mind itself is a bearer of the light. But if you're a smart observer, if you're a smart spirit, you'll know exactly how to make a Lucifer, and you will be aware that you're not that mind you created. You're just the thing observing it. And then you can create even multiple minds, multiple Lucifers, multiple golems and stuff like that. But that's like a way more level and shit like that. But right now we just want to get into this and keep it like a little bit more simpler and shit like that, right? So yeah, so awareness, light, or stimuli orbits around our observer, right? So the spirit observer accumulates light, awareness, and shit like that. What it dwells in, known as a mind, which is an imagination from pure. So because we're spirit, nothingness, really we're just pure and shit like that. But after that, when we forgot that we're just spirit, nothingness, we started to accumulate a mind. But we got lost in that mind, like I was saying earlier, right? So it's like, which is an imagination from pure. Before it becomes light, we're aware of and occupied as a mental form and go through experiences where we have an imagination, a mind, where we have our spirit, nothingness, purity, and then we have this 3D dense body that we use it to, build whatever is on our mind. But a lot of the stuff that be on people's mind be the stuff that the Masons programmed them with. So people go build the church, they go worship, do their holidays, and give them their energy, rather than us coming together as smart group of observers, minds and stuff like that, and create our own world, so we don't take the short end of the stick. Because this Masonic system make us take the short end of the stick. Because you can see a lot of people complaining right now, man, I'm tired of my 9-to-5 job. Because everyone is looking at this reality like it's not fair, because it was not fair. That's the thing. Why you gotta go to a job for 40 years or 60 years and then have only 20 30 years of your life to enjoy and shit like that, and then by that time you're compromised with all these health issues and shit like that. So it's not even a system that's worth it in general. That's why we all gotta talk about this and shit, right? So always keep in mind, right, that we're the spirit, we're the observer, we're nothingness, we're not the light, we're not the awareness, you're not the desire you have, you're not that feeling, you're not that thought. You can have those things, right? And the better that you know what you're doing, you can create a mind that's actually powerful, not some like sheep, puny, I gotta follow type of mind. No, you gotta be like, you can be in the priesthood type of mind, type of shit. To the point that like you have like real equilibrium. You create a mind that is actually balanced in the world, and you show everyone else how to have balance in their mind, because all the world is unbalanced. Think about it. They got disease out, like people are just fucking mentally bipolar, and that's not even bad and shit like that, right? But people have this unbalanced mind, and they create this unbalanced life and shit like that. Otherwise, people wouldn't be going to a 9-to-5 job. Why would you be giving most of your day to a job? That's not balanced. That's you giving too much. Really, we should be going to work like 3-4 days a week and shit like that. That's about it. But we gotta get to that point where we can argue based upon us, knowing that we're the powerful spirit, we're the powerful minds in this goddamn world and shit like that. Right? So now, when we accumulate experiences or receive stimuli, or we're observing too much light awareness, our observer can become blinded by light, be it positive light or negative light and shit like that, right? So what I'm trying to say here is that, like, you know what I'm saying? When you don't know that you're the spirit, when you just in your mind and you don't know that you're just nothingness, you're just spirit, you can accumulate all these experiences, accumulate all these awarenesses, accumulate all these cultures, these traditions, where like they be like subconsciously from behind closed doors trying to structure your mind for you to be a sheep and shit like that. You might accumulate all these experiences, go through a bunch of traumas, go through all this bullshit to have something on your mind that make you feel like you're not good enough, you know, you can't do something, you don't know how to do something, you need instructions, you need someone how to show you how, because that's how the world built people, to take instructions, aka to become sheep and shit like that, right? So your mind can become blinded, clouded by light, where you think you're your thoughts and feelings, and you might be like in this cycle of thoughts, in this like extreme feminine feeling where you're heavy and shit like that, you're depressed. Because that's why a lot of men in the red pill community, a lot of men or just people in general that are like narcissistic, whatever, like that, they'd be like stuck in a desire. And there's nothing wrong with desire. That's just an aspect. That's just a quality. That's just the root chakra. But it's about how we use these things. That's why I'm saying a lot of the desires that this world give you, this earthly animalistic world, be some like animalistic low vibrational shit. You can have a more powerful desire, some shit that actually like is like for God, because desire is just passion, it's aggression and shit like that, right? So you can use these things for the right things rather than using things for the negative things. Like people, some people like are very passionate and aggressive about hurting themselves to the point that like some people kill themselves, all types of shit. That's like using that aspect for the wrong reasons. So it's like the people running the world, they're not even being responsible with it, right? So here's the thing, right? You can be blinded by light, and a lot of people can become sometimes like light workers, or I don't want to say light workers, I want to say like white workers, right? Where they try to like whiteify the world. They try to like put everything on a whiteout, where it's like, oh no, this is okay, we can love everybody. Like Christianity, they be getting them lost in that aspect of love, Venus and shit like that. But that's just an energy. You're supposed to know how to direct that for yourself. And here's the thing, right? You might not even have access to that Venus energy depending on your natal chart. So however you set up your alignments, however you set up your spirit and shit like that, those are going to be the qualities that you need to manifest and shit like that. Like some of the qualities that I use to manifest is like the sun, Leo, you know what I'm saying, Virgo, Pisces, where like, but it's not even that. It's just a space that these fears travel through, and we have access to those things. And when if you're born on those things, that's going to be the qualities that you're preordained with, or you know you have on you and shit like that. That's going to be the things that you're either building your world, or you're building they world with your qualities and shit like that, right? And shit like that, right? And here's the thing: when people are blinded by light, they can even become like black workers. And what I mean by that is like people that want to like blackball you, blackmail you, guilt trip you and shit like that, right? And a lot of the times, cancers can play out this quality at all the times, where it's like they try to take their feelings, put that on you, and they might practice some black magic without them like knowing it and shit like that, to the point that they make you feel responsible for their feelings, so you feel like you gotta take care of how they feel and shit like that, right? So that's what I mean by it. When you're blinded by light and you accumulate too much experiences, you can get lost in being a white worker, lost in like love and shit like that, or you can become a black worker where you're lost in like some like, so where you're like trying to blind others or some shit. Like it's like almost like, okay, it's almost like sorcery and shit like that, right? But a lot of people don't even know what they're practicing. A lot of these preachers at the church and shit like that, they be doing like white magic, and black magic be some shit that they do. Like for example, let's say like you try to quit the church, right? They might put this heavy burden on you. You're like, brother, you're going to hell. Feel guilty. You're going to die. That's just me blackballing you, blackmailing you, guilt tripping you. You better not go down that route. You better go down the route the Mason brother in the church decided for you. You better build our world. This is how people are programmed. Because you got to remember, the motherfucker running the church, he's reaping the benefit of your life force by you being underneath them, and they benefit from the money that they getting and shit. So it's in their benefit to keep the scam going. And a lot of these like preachers, mosque niggas be like, scammers. But here's the thing, it's not about the religion itself, it's about how you use it. Because the religion, the words, the Bible, the Quran, the Torah, all these things is tools that we can use to help people build their minds. But we're talking about allegories about like stars, aspects, spaces, and shit like that, like chakras and all that shit, right? So, but if you don't know what you're experiencing, what you're getting into in the world, you might get lost in the world and like forever be lost for a very long time. And that's why we gotta motherfucking learn this shit motherfucking ASAP, right? Yeah. So where a person observing the light may get lost in that awareness, right? That light, that love, whatever light that you may be into, whatever light that they programmed you with, because they do that right now through technology and shit like that, right? You might watch like a scary movie, for example, and you might catch that light of fear, and you might carry that feeling with you. Be like, oh, you get out of the movie, you might be looking for that monster that you saw, because like no one told you that that's not how you're supposed to use your mind. You're not supposed to hold on to that imagination that you just got. You might worship Jesus Christ so much, you go home and try to sleep, you see Jesus Christ standing at your corner, because you was programmed to, your mind is programmed like to create that shit. It's not no shit like that Jesus Christ is coming to you. No, your mind is programmed to create that shit. You might even walk down the street and look at a regular person and be like, oh, I saw Jesus Christ. Oh Lord. It's like all types of crazy shit. It's like this world be crazy, right? Yeah, but anyways, let's get into this, right? So, anyways, I'm gonna start from back here, where a person observing these lights may get lost in that awareness, not realizing that they are not that light awareness. It plays out as like, and here's the thing, right? The light awareness can play out in so many different ways, and I want to get into that in the different videos when it comes to trauma, like memory recall when it comes to trauma and stuff like that, right? So the light awareness, it plays out as like, it can play out as memories, which is water. Water is a container. It's a fluid emotion that people can get stuck in. So that can play out through a memory where you're lost in a past event. You might have gotten traumatized so bad that you're lost. You keep recreating this memory subconsciously, consciously, recycling that shit, and you're lost in that light of the water. But it's like using water in the wrong way and stuff like that, right? Not that it's right or wrong, but there's a beneficial way to use this light awareness shit. And there's a deficient, self-defeating, dysfunctional way of using this light type of shit. If you get where I'm going with this and shit like that, right? So it plays out as memories, things that, and it can play out as things that were said to you, traumas that the mind and the body are holding on for, negative or positive, right? So let's say, for example, for water, it can play out as memories. So it's like containing an experience, an event, holding on to it, and it being deeply rooted in your subconscious, right? It can play out as a fire, passion. It can be something scary, like a passion that's like scary in your mind, like you know how they draw demons and the devil's red and stuff like that. You can have like a negative passion, like a negative desire. You can be passionate about some negative shit because it's just a light. But what you do with it, what you program yourself to do with it, or how it filters out through you, through your wiring system, can create some negative shit or positive shit if you know what you're doing. So air, logic. A lot of the times the mind can subconsciously auto-suggest forms of logic, information that are negative. You could be like, oh, I'm not good enough. Oh, I'm not sure. Oh, but I need Jesus Christ. Oh, but I need Allah. Oh, but I need God. No, what you need is understanding of what this life is. Not like this is some Masonic creative shit. A lot of this stuff around us be Masonic. The church, the mosque, all these things are using, all these things are being used fucking negatively and shit like that, right? And it could be even Earth, to the point that like you think you need to go to the church, fucking job 5 times a day. Earth is a structure, practicality, foundation. We think that we need to join the military to be like, to have a strong foundation and shit like that, right? And stuff like that, right? So it gets motherfucking crazy and shit, right? And here's the thing, depending on the aspects that you've selected, the qualities that you've aligned with when you came here and stuff like that, if you're not using that shit to build your world, they're gonna use that shit to build their world. Let's say, for example, you're a very creative person, right? You might jump into be like, oh, I want to be a Disney artist. Let me do Disney. But you're really helping them with their agenda and helping them practice witchcraft on people even more to do their sorcery and shit like that. But here's the thing, cartoons, imagination, it's not right or wrong. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just what you do with it. And you got to explain to people the allegories behind these things, to the point that people make these cartoon characters like superheroes and stuff like that, right? To the point that one person might get like a tattoo of some cartoon character, like Mickey Mouse, and be like, yeah, Mickey Mouse makes me happy, because Mickey Mouse is like coming in the name of having fun, being joyous, being childish, and stuff like that. But these are traits, these are characteristics, and you can play these characteristics out if you don't get so lost in their light, because that's God's shit. That's like space. That's like all possibilities. That's not nothing to do with no human mind. You can use the mind to build some shit, but most of the stuff that be going on be just some like government sorcery to manipulate the mind into creating their world and stuff like that. To the point that they have to put people in a lot of like fear energies, type of energies and shit like that, right? So it's like mixing too much awareness becomes darkness. And what that means is, think about it, right? When you're drawing or anything like that, or if you're into art or drawing, when you mix all the colors of the rainbow, it creates darkness and stuff like that. So if you mix all these lights, you have all these memories, all these emotions, all these desires, you might think that you're perceiving the world clearly, but what you have created is a condition upon your psyche to perceive the world in a particular way, right? Where now, like you're stuck in this clutter of this mind, and now you can't see your way out of that, to the point that you might experience an event, you might meet some type of person, you might go to some type of place again and again and again, but it's really because of the spirit that you're lost in darkness into, that keep manifesting that same type of relationship, that keep manifesting that same type of manager. And it's not even like that. It's really just us aligning with those things. And let's say, for example, you meet a narc, right? For a person to be a narc, they gotta meet someone that's gullible or have like low self-worth or low self-esteem and shit to take advantage from, right? And when these two people meet, they complete that situation. So it's like two tarot cards, because one person's playing the tarot card of the devil, the narc and shit like that. They got a desire, and it doesn't have to be a bad desire. If you're godly, you can have a good desire and shit like that, right? But most people in this world have an animalistic desire and shit like that, right? So yeah, that's those people. And the gullible person, I'm not sure what tarot card that would be. I kind of just made that up on the fly. I'm not too invested into tarot, but you get what I'm saying. For a situation to be complete, there's got to be two joining of two things. For a child to be conceived, there's got to be a man and woman coming together, right? It's like that. For a circumstance to for a circumstance to occur, aka an environment, for that environment to happen, there's got to be two things joining together, and they're fulfilling that situation. So it's like the only reason the government can rule the world is because we're fulfilling that situation by being sheep, and they're fulfilling that situation by being narcs, you could say, or like subconscious builders of the world. But I don't blame the average person. I blame the shadow government, because they train people like that to the point that like they give them some like PTSD type shit. But even that doesn't matter, because all that's gonna happen is people are just gonna rebel at the end of the day. It's like a rebellious child. It's like a child being held hostage by its family, and eventually it's just gonna rebel. And they keep coming up with different forms of witchcraft to prevent people from getting out of that shit that they've been practicing on y'all and shit like that. So we're trying to get out of it, right? So basically, when you're in darkness, you lack clarity. You lack this clairvoyance. You lack this pure light, what I was talking about earlier, where you know you're not the mind, you know you're the spirit, and now you're spending time in purity, and you're observing the mind, and now you're observing your body build what's on your mind, not thinking, oh, I'm a mind, this is my fate, I can only be this psyche, and like I gotta do X, Y, and Z to comply with what's going on. Where now it's like you got lost in the light, you got lost in the mind, you forgot that you're the spirit, right? And shit like that. So yeah, where we now may predicate and perceive reality through a built-in filter without realizing that we are the spirit, not the mind. Where we may get lost in the mind and think that we are our experiences and the light awareness we have on our mind, right? So a dirty mind is like it's like a cluttered room, where even the space you are around is a reflection of your psyche, right? Like if your room is cluttered, that's a reflection of your mind. You might be like very disorganized, very chaotic and shit like that, very bad time management skills and shit like that. So a dirty mind is like a very cluttered mind, a mind that is cluttered with light, a mind that's very cluttered with thoughts and feelings. But when you know you're not these thoughts and feelings, you know you're the spirit, you can use thoughts and feelings like a bitch, to the point that you actually create a beautiful thought. You create a beautiful feeling, to the point that like, because I already experienced this shit, to the point that like, it's like people just like you, to the point that like, if you're a man, females just want to, you fuck all the girls. if you're a girl, all the dudes want you, even if you're the ugliest chick in the world, because it's about the mentality, it's about the spirit. Because people don't even know like what's good for them. People are so lost in darkness that they can't even tell God, even like if it came right in front of them. So if you can come in that form of like all possibilities, and you're not lost in your emotions, you're like a really powerful straight thought, where like you're not lost in these emotions. Like a lot of these red pill community men be lost in these emotions and shit like that. Like, oh, but I feel this way. My woman don't listen to. No, your woman don't listen to you because you don't have logic, and you're not necessarily, you're just in negative desires. You can't even like stabilize her and the environment and stuff like that. So it's like you're not a balanced equilibrium Lucifer mind type of spirit, where the mind you're floating in is some type of like disorganized, disharmonized, dirty, full of darkness and mind and stuff like that. Right? Right? To the point that like you can have such a dirty mind to the point that like you create cancer, which is like rogues and which is cells that are non-functioning and kind of went rogue and stuff like that, meaning flesh that rebels against its observer, because that observer may be creating a toxic mind, so it plays out as like bodily issues and shit like that, right? So it's not necessarily like people is experiencing these health issues because because I forgot what I was gonna say, but it's really just because motherfucking what's on their mind. It's not because their body's bad, it's because it's still on their mind. To the point that you might even create a reincarnation cycle if you don't know how to incarnate and stuff like that. You get a reincarnation cycle where now you're accumulating a dirty mind to the point that you create like a very diseased, sick body, because that's what you deserve. That's what it means to have all that darkness, to the point that like it's like your organs are not properly separated. It's like things are just too it's like too chaotic. It's just darkness. It's just like bacteria. It's like it's unclean and shit like that, right? And that's the thing, man. Yeah. But yeah, so this level is really interesting because you start to see like once you're at this level, you'll start looking at your experiences like, man, why do they even become aware of that? Why did I even interact with that person? Because sometimes it's like the world just be so mentally dirty. It's like interacting with a human's dirty mind, make your mind dirty just by being in that interaction and shit like that, right? Where it's like it gets weird because yeah, this is where I'm at and stuff like that. Yeah. But with that being said, man, that's all. Make sure y'all like the video. Make sure y'all comment. Make sure y'all subscribe, man, so we can go ahead and kick this goddamn YouTube's algorithm's ass, and we can actually, goddamn it, have this shit be seen by more people, because this is the shit that the world needs anyways. With that being said, I'm gonna see you guys tomorrow, and that's all. Peace. Cheers to purity.